Welcome back, Lou. It's another week.
Going on.
Another week. As you see, we coming in with the Lonzo Ball instrumental.
We had to. It's his big day. 20 years old for Lonzo Ball. Happy birthday, Lonzo.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Zoe. So we're gonna get right into it, man. You know, this is Can't Be Stopped. This is an Ion Sports production. Now, we're gonna get right into it. Mr. Ball, off to it depends on how you look at it. You know, he really is a polarizing figure in the league. You know, I thought he's been off to a solid start. People want to point to his shooting percentage, but you know, averages of 11, 9, and I think he's 11, 9, and 9, right?
Yep, with one steal and half a block per game.
So, you know, solid. More importantly, they're 2-2.
Yeah.
Which, remember last year they started off pretty good. Not really, you know, they fell off. So we're just hoping Lonzo can improve. Obviously, they got to make the playoffs because they that should be their goal, you know, or push towards it because they don't get their draft pick this year.
Yeah.
So there's no tank. There's no Michael Porter walking through that door.
Hopefully he's walking through Chicago's doors this time next year.
Well, don't bank on it. Don't bank on it.
But we'll see.
But
we'll see what happens.
But so, you know, the career he's had has really started off kind of on, you know, Patrick Beverley kind of got in his grill.
Yep.
You know, first game.
Game one, Patrick Beverley kind of came in and really set that tone that I think a lot of other stars may potentially take, maybe not. But really came in, got real physical with Lonzo to even start the game off. I think the first possession he fouled him, just like showing that aggressiveness. I mean,
yep. But I think what really grabs headlines is what always grabs headlines is LeVar Ball. I mean, you know, happy belated birthday to him too. He's born on the 23rd.
Hey, crazy.
Hey, October babies.
Crazy.
But
week of birthdays.
For sure. You know, I'm celebrating one recently, so I'm blessed to see another year. You know, always. But what he was saying is like, you know, Lonzo, he's not gonna lose again this week. Get ready, Washington. You know, all of that, and Washington, as they should, kind of took exception to that. They're like, Gortat was on Twitter saying John Wall is going to torture him for 48 minutes. John Wall is saying, like, you know, we like Lonzo. We respect Lonzo Ball, the player. But his dad really can put him in a precarious situation, if you will, you know. Mm-hmm. So it was a little bit of, for a regular season, middle of the week matchup, kind of some hype going into it, would you say?
Oh, absolutely. Especially before the game, when John Wall came out and said, quote unquote, no mercy, definitely made it must see TV.
Yeah, and I mean, when you thinking about what's going on, and you think about, like, you know, I don't want to say magnitude because that means it's like big, but you know, it was bigger. But I thought the point guard matchup kind of underwhelmed.
Oh yeah, I was definitely expecting more, especially out of John Wall, who I said earlier a couple weeks ago, I see him a potential MVP candidate in the league. But the way Giannis is playing, 31% that game. I mean, he had 18 points, but he had a negative 14 plus minus for his.
But we all know the story about Lonzo. Like, that's why I don't understand. I get it. LeVar is hyping his son up.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think the haters, I really got to say the haters, because what they don't seem to realize is that Lonzo isn't a score-first kind of guy.
Right.
So if you go down to his box score and you look at his field goal percentage and you look at his points scored, and yes, it matters. Do you want him to shoot 31%? No, but he's a rookie. They have to adjust. Efficiency comes in time. But for the purposes of this exercise, who got the W?
Oh, for sure.
Who got the W?
I mean,
Lonzo's not the established NBA All-Star point guard.
Right.
He handled his though. He was able to dish it, set his teammates up. If you were to go back and look at the game, just in the 4 games he's played, like I said, he's not judged off of his points that he scores. It's putting his teammates in the right situations. And even when Patrick Beverley held him to 1 of 6 shooting, he's still making plays. And he's one of those guys where, growing up, it seemed like everybody was in love with hero ball. We need a bucket. We need a bucket. Oh, man, let me go ahead. ISO, ISO, ISO. Let me get it like AI. And Lonzo's just not that type of player. When you crowd him like that, you play defense on it like him, he going to get the ball out of his hands to try and make somebody else, score, get them open.
Yeah.
And in this game, he struggled again with his shot, but was, they went on a nice run without Lonzo. But at the end of the day, he's always just putting his teammates in the best situations possible. And when you're a Wizards team who's coming in there, I think there's some pressure that they applied on themselves. It's like you got to come in. It's like a letdown. When that first jumper don't go down, the second jumper don't go down. John Wall struggled with his shot, and if he's struggling, they almost guaranteed to lose. Like they got Bradley Beal, he did his part, but if John Wall's off, they off. That's just how it is. Now, Brandon Ingram got one of the luckiest tip-ins I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how he put that ball into the basket, but
when you got that 7-foot wingspan, anything's possible.
Right, anything possible when you doing that. But I just think it just comes back to is LeVar Ball, he's telling you, people are mad at him, and he's telling you exactly why he does the things that he does. He said, I told y'all, Lonzo not losing 2 times in a week, and I was right. Even if I was wrong, I'm still going to go home, eat my dinner, go to work, do his regular thing. He don't care if he's right or wrong. He just wants you watching, paying attention. Yeah. And as a businessman, that's what you're supposed to do. Now, some people do go about it the wrong way and get themselves in hot water, but we're going to touch on that later.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, what else do you want from the guy?
Yeah.
I
think LeVar kind of put in word perfectly earlier this week. He said, quote, "It's a team game. That's how you got to beat someone. If you go 1-on-1, you'll never go." And I think that's like the perfect analogy, because if you keep coming at Lonzo, all these stars, if Curry comes after Lonzo and LeBron and all these people, they go at Lonzo trying to go 1-on-1 with him, you're hurting your team.
The focus is off.
Right. I mean, that what happened with John Wall. John Wall is not the type of player really who does a lot of ISO ball, does a lot of ooh and ah. Not anymore. Maybe his rookie and sophomore year in the league. And
what John Wall got one of the nicest handles and passing, like going from just, it's wizardry, no pun intended, but that's what it is. That he is a wizard with the basketball, and if he go,
and he was just out of his game once. I think most of that's because of Gortat put that pressure on me, said he's gonna kill him. And I think when you put that on your teammate, it's like, all right, I gotta go do it for my team. And,
then the Lakers rallied around that. You know what I'm saying? They felt like, man, this dude trying to come in and clown our friend, our brother in arms. Man, we gonna play good. We feel like we gotta go win. We have to protect us too. So you gave them something. People talk about it. Man, he motivating everybody that Lonzo gonna go against. You ever thought about maybe it's motivating them too? They don't want to see him get embarrassed, and he didn't get embarrassed.
Definitely. But to switch gears, talk about a team that's not together now. The Chicago Bulls, my team,
our team,
your team, had an issue this week. So Bobby Portis and Nikola Mirotic got into an altercation during practice.
It was like what, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. But it's coming out now that Mirotic is, he didn't outright say I want to trade, but he was, kind of saying I wouldn't mind it. Like I would consider waiving his clause that he has. He's open to it, and I mean, okay, now we got to go into the story. Him and Bobby got into an altercation, and Bobby broke his face. He broke his face.
Literally.
Right, literally broke his face. And he said, man, he apologized. He said he sent them text messages. But what gets me is he said, I didn't mean to hurt you. You broke his face. Like,
That's like saying after you trip somebody, like, oh, right. I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. I didn't mean for you to fall.
Like, do you know what type of force it takes to break another man's face? Like, I know they're not like exactly the toughest.
We're talking about two guys. We're talking about two guys who are nearly 7 foot tall each.
Right, like you know it. I don't want to oversell it because it's not that hard to break a bone in your face. You know, Derrick Rose got hit with an inverted elbow a couple seasons ago, and he had to wear a mask for a month, it felt like. And it's not exactly hard to do that, but he concussed him and put him in the hospital. He put him in the hospital. I just, when you talk about a team that wasn't expected to win already, and then you talk about the dysfunction that's surrounding them now, like it was already dysfunction with how they've handled the Derrick situation, the Jimmy situation, the Thibodeau situation, the Joakim Noah situation. It's like the past couple of years, they've really kind of been teetering on, a circus. And then it's just like, here's another act. Like, and it's overshadowing the credit that I have to give the Chicago Bulls general manager for drafting Lauri Markkanen. That man can really shoot the basketball.
Yeah, he can. I'm definitely interested to see how he keep progressing. But I've seen some pretty nice things to start the season.
Right. But I don't want to take Garpax off the hook. This is not saying that, I'm giving him a good job for this. But it's like, okay, thank you for doing your job. It would have been a lot better if they would have been able to keep the number 16 pick, if they would have been able to keep that. But if Lauri plays like this, then I can see why Portland would have been like, man, we're not giving you both. But I will say, I don't understand how we got to this point. Like, how is Justin Holiday our best player? Like,
I was going to say, when you have a starting lineup full of
D-League team?
Right. I don't know. I want my team, I want the Bulls to be so good. I want them to be successful. But a snake, like all other things, rots from the head down. This has been a dumpster fire for a long time, and we get covered up every now and again because we make some good draft picks, but then we treat them very bad.
Yeah. The running joke.
Like Joakim, like Luol Deng, like Jimmy Butler. The list goes on and on of all-stars who have come and gone for the Bulls.
We can do that since the year 2000. You could make an all-star team. I'm going to say,
of all the players who have been let go, traded, released, not re-signed.
Never suited up in the case of LaMarcus. Draft day trades.
Oh, my goodness. Let's not even start with that. But I don't even know. I think Garpax both still need to get fired. But I think in the culture of the Bulls just need to be reset. Everything got to go and start over.
Well, I mean, I know it's a long shot, but maybe they could trade for Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe. I almost had a good segue there until I messed up the names. Eric Bledsoe.
Hey, hold on. Real quick shout out, man. Eric Gordon, great shot on the 76ers.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. But
don't do it again.
That's what got my head fried. I'm thinking about Eric Gordon. He's been balling. He's been absolutely balling.
Yes, he is.
But Eric Bledsoe, athletes, disgruntled, trades. It's kind of a theme here today, I think. And what got him in hot water is his tweet of, "I don't want to be here." And when I saw it, I'm like, wait a minute. I don't want to be here. Where? Is he talking about at home? Is he talking about at the store? No. He talking about Phoenix. His job. You know what else would a player tweet about?
Don, come on. You heard what he said.
Was at the hair salon.
He was at the hair salon with his girl. I don't want to be here. Come on.
Yeah.
Especially you have times where you're at your job and you're like, man, I'd really like to be somewhere else or have a different job somewhere. But do you say it to the thousands of people following you and the organization that kind of, kept you? You're right, the million of people.
If he had 999,999 followers, he's still a star in this league. And it got picked up everywhere. Even if you didn't know who Eric Bledsoe was, you know who he is now. You know. I mean, just like the Suns GM said, he didn't buy that. And I mean, that's not his job to. His job is to build the culture and build a winning program. I mean, he's struggling a little bit, but...
Which I think the GM made a mistake in saying that, though, to be honest, because I think now you're hurting the value of your
you shouldn't have went... None of this should have went public. I mean, Bledsoe could have handled it better, but the GM also... It's like he went public with information that probably shouldn't have been public. Just because of the fact is that's something you say after you trade. I feel like if you're gonna say it at all, you don't say it. You know, Eric Bledsoe is gonna get dumped off for pennies on the dollar. Like the Bulls feasibly could swoop in with Mirotic and a 2 second rounders. Like he can't stay there. He can't. It's like the Kyrie thing. Once Kyrie said, "I don't want to be here," fittingly, you have to get rid of him. For whatever it is, whatever your best offer is.
A team that's been in the circulation for Eric Bledsoe, though, that I want to get your thoughts on, been the Milwaukee Bucks. What do you think about that?
It depends on what they have to give up. I think Eric Bledsoe is an upgrade over the point guards.
Malcolm Brogdon has been circulated, and the Suns believe that he had to be in the trade for it to go through.
I think Eric Bledsoe is an upgrade, obviously, but it's not something Malcolm Brogdon and what? Because it's always the and what. It's not just a player. It's never usually just a pick. It's always something else.
Right.
And I think with Eric Bledsoe's recent injury history, and just his production in general, like I said, he's an upgrade. But when you get into the financials of everything, if Milwaukee wants to play in free agency, I don't know what they want to do. I don't know if I would necessarily make the trade, but when you got an MVP, because that's what I'm gonna start calling Giannis. It's gonna be Giannis onto to MVP. All right.
You forcing it.
Giannis. Is going, I hate to say it, he's making me change my prediction. I had James Harden going into this year, but the way he's playing, if he's playing like that all year, he's got to be it. You just got to acquire assets, the best players you possibly can to put around him. This is basketball. There's no rocket science. There's not too much scheming that goes on. Like, that matters, don't get me wrong. But in basketball, get the best players. Get the best players. In football, we can get by. We're New England. We can trade. We can let Darrell Revis go and bring on Malcolm Butlers. We can replace, Gronks. He goes down. We can replace him with Michael Humananis. Excuse me for messing that name up, but we can do basketball. Period. Get the best players. If he's an upgrade over Malcolm Brogdon, get him.
I guess,
especially if it's going to be Malcolm Brogdon and some second round picks, get him.
The one thing I'll say about Milwaukee, why I wouldn't personally do the trade, is if you're looking at the long term for Milwaukee, currently I think Eric Bledsoe is 28 years old, and if you're looking at Giannis and Jabari Parker and Malcolm Brogdon, are on different levels right now. I think Eric Bledsoe is real close to that. I just want to win a championship kind of path right now. And I think I see Jabari Parker and Giannis and all them still in that we're still getting better,
Yeah.
but we're getting real close to that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like the idea of giving up.
Well, sometimes you gotta have that potential actualized, and I mean in the Eastern Conference, the way it shapes up, you literally are one series away from winning the whole thing. If you think about it, you got a top 5 player. If he's gonna play like this, it is what it is. If Giannis plays like this, he's a top 5 player in the league. You have a top 5 player. You have the potential to add a top 15, top 20 point guard, and you bring back Jabari. You keep Greg Monroe. You have a productive front court with Thon Maker. Go for your run. That's my opinion. Go for your run. You're already basically going to the Eastern Conference Finals. If you can knock off Boston, go for your run. But, Bledsoe, uncomfortable there. He's not the only superstar. He's not the only talented player in sports that is disgruntled. And I don't think I've seen anything like this next topic, like just so open and during a season in recent memory. And that's Martavis Bryant of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. So Martavis Bryant pretty much is upset about the amount of looks that he getting on the field, the ball thrown his way, and had publicly come out and really just run down the team for not getting him his opportunities, especially with Juju Smith-Schuster balling out, but Martavis Bryant is saying that he's better than him.
It's the way he went about it that I think
pretty much.
Let me rephrase what I started off saying. I don't think it's not the most outlandish demand for a trade. It's the way he I haven't seen an athlete do this. He's on Instagram talking about, well, you know what? Trade me. Y'all can have Juju and whoever else they want. I'm better than him, fool. Wait, bruh, are you for real? Like, are you for real? I'm all for him saying, I think I need the ball more. Hell, Antonio Brown said it, and in grand fashion on the sideline. That's not the issue that I have with him. It's just that he's so publicly putting down another player who's on his team, and just is really going scorched earth here and trying to get out of Pittsburgh. For a team that stuck by him when he couldn't pass a drug test. Now, I know everybody has their own opinion on that, and I'm not here to bash Martavis Bryant. I'm here to just say they stuck by you. You could at least have the common courtesy to play out your contract. You're a free agent at the end of the season. If you don't like it here, you say, I want a bigger role. It's not getting handled. I get it. I understand. Just be professional. Finish the season. Go elsewhere. Ask for a trade. If they request it, or if they, grant your wishes, great. If they don't, be professional. Because it looks bad on you when you go into another situation to have been bashing someone who is just eating right now. Now, I get it. Social media, people come after you. They attack you. They say all these things. But you are a National Football League player. Like, you are in the NFL. Why are you stooping to this level? Just why? And now he's super mad because they got him on scout team. Super ticked off. And now he's just open about it. He's like, yeah, if they trade me, great. If not, I'm going to play on my contract. But why couldn't you just handle that internally? Like, keep it behind closed doors. I don't know. That's just me. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, to me, I don't know, man. I think this is when it comes to just being unprofessional about it, I think this is the key example of what not to do. Like, if you want a bigger role, if you want to prove that you're better than the rookie who's having a great season so far, do it on the practice field. Do it when you get your opportunity. Do it in the film. If you didn't have talent, the Steelers wouldn't have kept you around for so long through all the issues you had off the field. But I just think that the way that he's going about trying to find his role again, I guess, in the Steelers. Because I've seen a lot of Steelers in the past 10 years or so where they leave the Steelers and it's not so green on the other side. You know, Santonio Holmes. I've seen
Plaxico Burress won some rings,
Marcus Whedon.
You know, it wasn't the same. You know, individually, how he, you know, the numbers he was putting up. But I just think, I mean, now they're punishing him. Like, now it's a punishment. You're not gonna speak out on an organization like that, and then expect to just get the ball 40 times. Like, maybe after the first outburst, you know, not outburst, but just saying, hey, guys, like, I'm not happy with this. Like, either can you guys give me the ball or trade me? But then, like, after going public with it, like, in the fashion he did, yeah, they didn't throw you the ball. You know, nobody is bigger than the team. You know? Nobody. No matter. Oh, yeah, that's the...
Especially in football, where you can easily get replaced. Any position is up for replacement. We saw Tony Romo just get replaced by a rookie last year, who's one of the best quarterbacks in Dallas Cowboy history.
He's talking all this, and they don't have somebody that's literally playing his role, and doing it better, cheaper, and in a more fun kind of way. So, like, on all fronts, Juju is great. It's great. In a perfect world, they could have all three.
Yeah.
They could have him, Martavis, Antonio, then they could have Le'Veon, and it'd be a nice, happy, you know, football family. But that's not the case, and he sees himself as the number one wide receiver. I'm going to throw in my little 2 cents. Chicago, make the trade. But I don't know. I think there needs to be an air of professionalism, especially since he's in a contract year. Right? He has the freedom to choose with his next destination in a couple months. You might as well just tough it out. Because now, guess what? They're not going to trade you. You killed all your trade value. Absolutely. Yeah, nobody wants to trade for a wide receiver who has a checkered history in the league when it comes to substance abuse. Nobody wants to trade for a disgruntled diva wide receiver who, when healthy, scored 15 touchdowns over, you know, but then, like I said, missed a whole year. But then now is back out there, and yeah, he can say they may not be throwing him the ball. Well, you're still not getting the ball, so you're not even their numbers. What are your numbers saying? I granted that may not be the most fair point in the world, but it is what it is. If I'm making a trade, I'll say, well, you guys have thrown him the ball like 3 times in the past 3 weeks. What makes you think that we're gonna try and lowball? That's what you should do if you're trying to make the trade. He's killed his value. So, I mean, hey, at least, you know, in the Steelers organization, at least publicly, they tend to handle their stuff pretty well. You don't usually get some stuff like this. You know, they usually handle themselves, the players, the coaches, the owners, they handle themselves a cut above the rest of the league. And that leads me to my next point. Yes, we're going to keep it in football. Let's get to Texas. And we have to talk about what the Texans owner said. It is just, you know, it's been a couple weeks now going where there's protests and the reaction to it. Go ahead.
Say, can I say something real quick? Like, we really just want to talk about sports. We really just want to talk about what goes on the field, about the player being...
Yeah, the greatness on... Right, exactly.
Really exciting right now.
I can't help it. I can't help it when they say things like this. Like,
I can't... When owners come out and say, quote, we can't have the inmates running the prison.
Yeah.
What am
I don't know
what am
how
I
we
supposed
can
to
avoid
do?
it, because I would feel, as African American males, I feel that would be a disservice to ourselves to avoid a topic like that. I don't necessarily like talking about stuff like this, but I do think that there needs to be some type of awareness brought to it in terms of the NFL is a majority African American league. I would highly recommend NFL owners not compare their employees to inmates. And especially when you consider the fact that in America, the population of prisons is disproportionately black. To compare a large group of black males to inmates is disrespectful. Not so much just in, terms of, Trump called them SOBs. There's people in America that say they're disrespecting the flag. I hate them. I'll never watch them. I don't even like them anymore. Inmates. We cannot let the inmates run the prison. Is Bob McNair racist? I would not go out of my way to say that. I will not say that. I do think that the NFL owners are very tone deaf and they don't think before they speak, but their athletes are held to that standard. When Cam Newton said what he said just a few weeks ago, and he is in the news again, we get on him. We talk about him. We say you shouldn't do that. You have to be better than that. You have to think about what you say before you say it. Why is Bob McNair subject to different rules? Like, granted, he apologized. Okay, great. Thank you for your apology. Thank you. But you said what you said. Just because you apologize doesn't mean it went away. It gives me the option to forgive you, I guess, move forward. I'm not going to hold a grudge against him. But you talk about it. The whole point of the protests and against what people have been against is it's a distraction. We don't want to talk about that before football. We don't talk about that during football. Sundays is for sports. Keep sports and politics separate, even though they're together and forever will be linked together. But he made it a distraction. DeAndre Hopkins didn't go to practice today because of it. How is that not a distraction? The team had to be persuaded to stay at practice. Persuaded. The team that he owns. Yes, it's
the
not
team
like,
that he owns.
Yes.
How he makes his money. He's hurting himself just as much as he's hurting anyone else in this situation.
And I quote, Bob McNair said, "I regret that I used that expression. I never meant to offend anyone, and I was not referring to our players. I used a figure of speech that was never intended to be taken literally. I would never characterize our players or our league that way, and I apologize to anyone who was offended by it." Louis, we can't say whatever we want.
Look.
Just because I say I did it.
Ain't that the truth?
I called you blah 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 blah. I didn't mean to offend you. But you should know better. You should know better. You should know better. If let's say this. Let's say I go for a job interview. Okay. I go for a job interview. My potential employer says, "Mr. Collins, we have this video of you on Twitter of you singing along to a song lyric that we just don't think is going to mesh well here with the culture that we want to provide at our company. And we're going to go in a different direction." I'm going to look at them and I'm going to say, wait, that's a song lyric, right? That is how the artist expressed himself. That is what I am singing along to. And I'm not singing it at anybody. I'm not offending anybody. And I didn't say it towards anybody in a malicious way. I have a case, and I do think there is a time and a place for freedom of speech. But if I can't dictate if my boss is going to be, I don't like that. That offends me. If I say something that's, expletive this, expletive that, they get offended. I can't tell them I didn't mean to. They're offended. You can't say, well, they're inmates. Right. We know the connotation of calling a black person an inmate or making an allusion to that. I'm sorry. You didn't mean to do that. You didn't mean to say that. I'm pretty sure, America didn't mean to have, institutional racism continue on into the year 2017. But they didn't do nothing to stop it. It's just, I'm sorry. You're going to apologize. You should have thought about that before you said it.
I think this came at the worst time possible for the NFL. For two main reasons. One,
they just won't let it go.
But the owners, especially Jerry Jones from a couple weeks ago, and now this, have refueled the fire for the players who have been kneeling with similar ideals than which Colin Kaepernick was to begin with. And two, getting back to Colin Kaepernick, he has reportedly agreed to attend the meeting with NFL players and owners next week. So now you have fueled the fire in Colin Kaepernick's belly to give you all of his mind in his upcoming book that he's agreed to, and in this meeting that he had next week. Now, whatever these owners' intentions are by saying these type of things, thinking these type of things, this came out in public, but I'd assume that, hopefully it doesn't, but I'm going to assume that there's more talk like this in private. For the betterment of your business, I highly recommend you don't do it anymore. They're kind of plain and simple. I don't want to get too elaborate with that. I want to make sure that they can understand me.
Oh, it's a terrible thing. It's terrible. That's bad business.
It's not a good thing. To say the least. So you've had an issue, NFL, with people in Texas not go to your games. Similar
No, but some people have been saying, like, it is kind of, it's definitely. I thought Jerry,
it's teetering on that line a little bit.
I thought that was going to be the worst thing we heard. Like, hey, if nobody plays, they're going to get benched. And granted, do I disagree? Absolutely. But he is the boss. He can make that designation. I don't think it's right, but he could. It wouldn't be necessarily discrimination. It's just instituting a rule that,
right, that's fine. If you want to have a rule for your player that they have to stand, I disagree with it. And if I were the player, I would also do what I thought was best for myself and for the people
who. But Jerry Jones didn't call them inmates. Yeah, right. I'm the warden, and you do what I say. That's what Bob McNair. That's what. Like, come on now. What are you talking about?
Right.
And when you, like you said, when you calling a black person an inmate, it's just so much these days where, I wrote a blog post for my class, and I said, America, they don't call me the racist names that they used to my face anymore. So I'm thankful that I live in a day and age where that doesn't happen to me, because I can only imagine a world. I just can't. But they for damn sure allude to it. And a prisoner is just a modern day slave. They take away your freedom. You can't, you get a felony, you can't vote. You can't. There's so many freedoms that are taken away from you just because you, I want to say, make a mistake. But then also, too, there's so many cases where they're wrongly convicted and it still sticks with you for the rest of your life. And to allude to that in terms of NFL players who are multimillionaires, they are part of a group of only, what is it, a few thousand players in the world that play American football. They're a very elite group. Very elite. They're rich. They're intelligent. They may not they're not Rhodes Scholars. They're not gonna, be graduating all the time from, Harvard and, going to the NFL and then retiring but they're very smart men. Very smart. And to allude to them as inmates, I just think that's very classless, distasteful. It's not something. It's as a leader, that's not something you would do. Like I wouldn't put anyone down in general if in a leadership position. Like it's a difference between joking. He was dead serious. Like I wouldn't joke like that either. But he's not even joking. Like he was being serious.
Yeah, especially the last thing I'm gonna say on this is you can't call your employees, quote unquote, inmates, especially when they're literally putting their life on the line every single time they go on the field. With all the research being done about CTE that have been coming out that has not really come to the front of the headlines yet, but I think will be coming more and more as the months and years continue on with the NFL and how they're really going to have an issue with real player safety, not just on the field, but 10 to 15 years later. Probably not the best thing to do right now. Thing going on in baseball, so let's touch on that real quick.
We didn't get the chance. I apologize. I was on vacation. Yeah.
Both of us kind of were. Hey, you were on a much nicer vacation than myself.
She really set that up. It was great. We went to the Dominican. Oh yeah, everything was great. But so we didn't get the chance to have Can't Be Stopped last week, and we didn't get the chance. I was in the Dominican, sitting next to a Dodgers fan as the Dodgers advanced to the World Series. Very interesting, because the year before was one of the happiest moments of my life when the Cubs went to the World Series. And so this guy was someone who hadn't seen the Dodgers go to the World Series in his life. And congratulations. I told him, congratulations. Don't mess it up. Now, I know we decided to do our predictions. I have Houston in 7.
I have the Dodgers in 6.
I am very fortunate that our next episode that we, right now we get to talk about it. They are deadlocked. 1-1. 1-1. Oh, man, it's like nothing changed. Nothing changed, really. And, yeah. And
now game 1 to 5
was pretty typical. Kershaw come out, dominate. I mean, not playoff Kershaw. But, no, for real. No, for real. That's typical Kershaw. If we're gonna be serious about it, and Clayton Kershaw's entire MLB career, his postseason struggles are the blip on the radar. Like those are the ones that are outliers. That was typical Kershaw.
Absolutely.
Like that's what you expect to see out of a calendar year. That is the type of start you expect out of Clayton Kershaw. So, and granted, the Houston Astros can really hit the baseball. So the fact that Keuchel and Kershaw, it was really a pitcher's duel outside of a couple home runs here or there. But I don't know what decided to happen between that and game 2. Well, hold on. Before we get to game 2, I want to say that they played the shortest MLB World Series game since 1992 in game 1. 2 hours and 28 minutes. Unheard of. 2.5 hours? Unheard of.
That's a quick game.
But then game 2, it wasn't exactly the fanfare of home runs. In the beginning. I
was going to say, to start off the game, it was kind of slow.
You got 2 pitchers on the bump, Verlander, dealing, give a couple mistakes. But other than that, dealing. You got Rich Hill, dealing. Something funny happened though. Something real funny happened.
Yep.
Kenley Jansen. I've gotten really familiar with this man's name because the Cubs, they just can't seem to hit him. Nobody can in the postseason. He came into game 2.
Yeah.
With 13 straight saves in the postseason to start his postseason career. That is untouchable. And for those that, are casual fans at home, most closers, when they come in, the expected win probability is 99%. Somewhere, it's like around there, 99%. He came in the 8th inning, gave up a home run. I'm like, okay, nothing doing. This guy gets 6 outs, none he hasn't done before. Nobody can really touch him. I'm like, okay, cool. Somewhere along the way, the Houston Astros decided we are not going to Houston down 0-2. They were not going back to Houston down 0-2. Period. Their offense, I don't think I've seen anything like it because they not only do they tie the game, go to extras, they take the lead in probably about the most grand fashion I could have seen, right? Then the Dodgers storm back. The Dodgers do the same thing. They bring their offense.
Man, can we?
Yeah, that home run.
Y'all see a wing the bet.
Left the ballpark in a hurt. Yeah.
Crack the ball.
Then they just go back and forth. I'm like, this game is going to take all night. And I'm like, okay, great. And sure enough, a 1-run game in probably the least likeliest way that I thought possible was going to happen. Because it was a 1-run game going into the 9th. And it finished a 1-run game not after the 9th. And Houston came out on top. So, once again, my good buddy Skylar Covington, follow him on YouTube, social media, Instagram, Twitter. It's the Sky's the Limit TV. Houston native, Astros fan. He said that was the best game he's seen, period, for him. And I'm like, Cubs game 7, last year, but I'm biased. So I'll give him that because I know what that feels like to be in that excitement, to just watch craziness unfold in front of your eyes. It's crazy. You can't describe it as anything other than crazy.
The game ended, box score wise, was 7-6 for the end of game 2, and the Houston Astros had 14 hits, and the Dodgers only had 5.
It's baseball for you.
So, that's definitely what today's baseball is like. A team who gets a lot of hits versus a team who just hitting mostly home runs, which is definitely fine if whatever it takes to win games. But if Houston keeps hitting this ball like this, I'm a little concerned.
Well, I guess
for
we
the
get
Dodgers,
to find out tonight what happens. Continuation of the series. One of my favorite events in sports. Oh, my goodness. My favorite. But there's only 2 teams left. There's 30 teams in MLB. So for the other 28 teams, the offseason's already begun. A lot of decisions, a lot of player transactions, a lot of personnel changes, too, just in the coaching staffs. Interesting. Usually every offseason is full of them. But this one, I was a little taken aback by one and kind of not so much the other. We're talking about Joe Girardi of the New York Yankees and Dusty Baker of the Washington Nationals getting let go. Which one you want to tackle first?
Let's talk about Joe Girardi first. We're 1 win away from getting to the World Series. They got to Game 7 with the Houston Astros. He been the manager for about 10 years, I believe, won a World Series. Maybe you just didn't like the way that a couple things went this season, but I don't know. I I like Joe Girardi. He's been successful at the Yankees managing. But I don't know if this is necessarily the right move when there's not a clear-cut manager for the Yankees who can just come in there, a big name who can just lead them to victory immediately with these new young guys.
I'm going to say this.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Between the two, this is the one that upset me less. I think that in New York, they have a great thing going. I think they overperformed, but credit Brian Cashman for putting the players in place to be able to do these things that they did this season. And I think it was the right move. I think at the end of the day, in sports, it's not always going to be fair. It's not always going to be right. Joe Girardi didn't necessarily do anything to get let go, but it happens. It happened with the Warriors. If they would have kept Mark Jackson, they're not in the same position they are today. I can't say that definitively, but you can't definitively say that they would have gotten better just organically. Sometimes you need a different voice. And Joe Girardi, is a good manager, great manager. I have nothing against the man. I thought he did a phenomenal job getting his team ready. But to take the next step, it's time for a new voice. He's been there a while. It's time for a new voice. And that's really all I got on it. I don't disagree with it because the Chicago Cubs fired a good manager in order to get Joe Madden. It happens. It happens. I doubt that he's holding any ill will towards the New York Yankees and vice versa. It happens. I think I would pick the Yankees to progress again and be in a similar position this year. I mean, it begs the question, did the players get Joe Girardi there or did Joe Girardi get the players there? And I think in this case, the players really did a lot of the heavy lifting. I know they do all the time, but you can see managers that have their fingerprints all over success. And I think he was just along for the ride this year.
I think that's definitely something that we'll be able to see clearly next year and in the year to come. I'm definitely interested to
they got money. They always got money.
Pretty much at the disposal of someone interested.
Sure.
They'll throw as much money they need.
But there was another, shake-up in the offseason. The Nats, they let go of Dusty Baker. Now, as I said, this is the one that I was really kind of like, whoa. Like, okay, I get it. They looked completely inept. They looked like they could not hit. They weren't ready. They were not prepared against that series against the Cubs. But granted, the Cubs didn't look so hot against the Nationals pitching either. So I would say they were really, the pitching performed admirably. The offense could not keep up.
I was going to say, the pitching for the Nationals, you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, please, but I'm fairly certain through 6 innings, both Steven Strasburg and Max Scherzer had no hitters at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, they were really good.
I don't know, and with a lineup that's as dangerous as the Nationals is or perceived to be.
This is the part that
I know it's on the manager to put it all together.
Well, he did everything.
But he can't go out there and hit the ball.
He did the same thing he did all year. What are you supposed to do? You gonna put Bryce Harper at the bottom of the lineup? What did you want him to change? He has established veteran players. Trey Turner's at the top. Worth is batting right near Harper. Rendon is right in the middle. Zimmerman is protecting Harper. What are you supposed to do? Michael Taylor had a series of a lifetime. It came down to just the Cubs got more breaks. They got more breaks. And I think the way both teams were playing, the Dodgers are still going to beat both of them. It breaks my heart to say that because I picked the Cubs in 6. But the Dodgers flat out manhandled them. And I don't think Washington would have fared that much better. Maybe because they have Strasburg and Scherzer that they could have been in games more. But the Dodgers are just rolling right now. They're rolling. Them and Houston. That's why they're in the game. So,
yeah, I agree. I think in both cases, this, especially with the way that this World Series played out, I truly think, although it's not the picks I had initially made for what the World Series would be, I truly do believe these are the best two teams playing each other in the World Series, and which is something we don't always see in baseball for a myriad of reasons, or in sports in general. But I really think this is just how it happened, and I think, let's say the Nationals would have beat the Cubs,
they get dispatched in the same amount of games.
It'd probably be a similar. I'm gonna say 5 games. I expect Bryce Harper to be a difference maker enough in one game.
It would have came down. I mean, what?
But
Scherzer and Kershaw or Strasburg and Kershaw go back and forth. The Dodgers managed to beat up on the Nationals bullpen that isn't existent. You know, it would have been the same thing, just like with Jake.
Right.
The game the Cubs won, Jake is a top of the line starter in the postseason, and they go toe to toe, and they win the game. But that was a game that the Cubs didn't have to hit off the Dodgers bullpen because they couldn't do it. They simply couldn't do it. I don't know. I don't think Dusty Baker should have gotten fired. And I think it's a similar situation to Joe Girardi. Obviously, both teams were extremely successful this season. But for the simple fact of this, Bryce Harper is a free agent he's going to be a free agent at the end of next season. Dusty Baker had, a year left on his contract, and they let him go? If you're looking at a possible culture shift, that's what happens when you lose a player like Bryce Harper. Everything changes. You have to start over, basically. Worth will be gone. Rendon will probably stick around. He signed that new contract. But they should look to try and do something different. Why not make the change then? You're going to go through back-to-back off seasons of changes. This year with a manager, next year possibly with your best player. Why not just do it all in one off season, bring the gang back together, run it back, try and win a ring to convince Harper to stay? Keep some organizational stability to at least show that you're committed to winning and not just shaking stuff up just to shake stuff up. That's just me.
A, we expect Bryce Harper to leave. Let's get a head start on starting over our culture. Or B, this is our last chance with Bryce Harper. Let's bring in someone who we really think can win us the World Series. Which I don't know if they truly believe this Dusty Baker could get there or not.
That's how they justified bringing him in the first place. So, I mean, hey, sports, always craziness. The only thing that I can guarantee is that there will be sports played, and LeVar Ball will say something outlandish within the next couple weeks.
And I really hope no more NFL owners say anything.
Yeah, true.
Please just keep it to yourself.
Definitely.
Just keep it to yourself. But don't keep it in email, because then Colin Kaepernick going to win his case against the NFL. But that's neither here nor there.
It's another great week, Lou. We are the Can't Be Stopped duo. This is an Anion Sports production. You know, all that good stuff. Hashtag be great. We can't be stopped. The only place to go is up. Hold on. Can we get the Lonzo Ball beat back in here? Hold on. Let's get some of Lonzo's beats back in here, because the boy really is rapping on this. You know, he doing it, and I'm liking it.
Hey,
I'm liking it.
Second best rapper in the NBA.
Oh yeah, look.
Not touching Dame.
Hey, but that's cool. We just gonna vibe out to end this episode. Go ahead. Hashtag be great. See y'all.
Absolutely. Peace.
Hey.